Okay, hi there. This is Keep It Real Labs. We are going to be doing part two to Beck kind of reacts to Mr. Snowflake's Q&A. I just stopped the other one, so we are going to be getting into number two. Please give it a like, give it a thumbs up. Same thing, honey. Same thing. Leave comments down below, all that good stuff. And yeah, let's get right back into this.
Want the details of the stupid FBI Frank story? And did Big Cherry really free bleed around the house for months?
Oh
How long
God.
was she bedbound for? So a few things there, but the FBI Frank story, I'm sure you
I
know.
don't know why I did that. I never even actually did it in real life. But that is so freaking gross. As a woman, you don't do that. We women we've been taught to not just freaking free bleed like that. And if you do have to free bleed for medical reasons, you don't freaking do it all around the house, do you? There's been times when, of course, as women, we can't put something down there. We can't, whatever it may be. But you don't freaking go and sit, especially if you are living with three people. You're freaking seriously gonna have a mattress in the living room to free bleed on? That is gross. Gross.
About that, said the FBI got in touch, so eventually got in touch with her over negative comments on the internet and the rest of it.
I have no idea about the FBI Frank story really. It definitely wasn't my sister. Amber did come out and say that I wasn't the ex she was talking about, but I can't think of who it could be at all. For the next
So
question,
is she attempting to say that it was Destiny's sister? No. She was a lie. She's a lie. Of course, there was no freaking FBI Frank. Even a child would know that that was a freaking lie. But she just came out and said, it's not Becky's sister, just because she knew she couldn't say anything else.
yes, she did free bleed, and for how long was she bed bound? It was over a year.
Did Amber ever hit you? Again, I think you answered that in a Karina. And did she smell bad? I'm guessing yes. There's only so much perfumes and candles can do.
She didn't hit me. I think that if she had had the ability to, she might have. Cause
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That the only reason she couldn't hit her was because she knew if she went to give a punch, she's just gonna be freaking falling over. It's insane. I'm still in shock about the free
she
bleeding.
would get really angry.
Ooh, what has been the biggest resource inspiration to your recovery from a so glad you're doing better. We love you, Beck.
My biggest resource has been my family and my friends supporting me.
Do you feel like you were walking on eggshells with the big one? Did she physically hurt you during her binges? Where did she? Where did you get the strength to realize the situation you were in and walk away? Was she really an avid reader? If you hear, did she fudge her weigh numbers? Did you ever want to say to Amber, shut up, for God's sake, shut up? I do the silly reactions to her sometimes, and I try and make them silly. But even I just go, shut up sometimes because it's
Oh,
ridiculous. There's a
that's
few in
weird.
there.
I was walking on eggshells with Amberlynn. She was really easy to upset, and it wasn't physical, it was very verbally attacking. I don't know where I got the strength. I was just so fed up, and
Mister.
I knew it could not go on any longer. Was she an avid reader? She did read, but she definitely bought more books than she ever read. Did she fudge her way in numbers? Yeah, she would sometimes. There were just some days that she didn't feel like weighing herself, so she would just make up a number.
I gotta know if them, Eric and Ricky, ever S-talked Amber when she wasn't around.
I didn't know anybody who didn't, and I didn't know anybody who she didn't talk about behind their back
Oh
either.
shit.
What sort of lengths?
So all this friendly kind of thing that they were just still doing with her when she was with Feline. Yeah, it was all fake. I mean, fake people stick together, right?
Would she go to keep up her lies? Any noteworthy moments of her trying to keep the mask from slipping during the live stream era when you broke up with her? The mask was off, and everybody. I think that's when I stopped showing any. But yeah, you tell that's when that was her real self, and it was Awful. So what sort of lengths would she go to keep up her lies?
She was always wearing a mask when she was recording a video, and she would try to make it to where anybody around her when she was filming wouldn't say anything that would make that mask come off. But during her live streams, you actually got to see a little bit more of who she is. I can't remember any specific times, but there were moments where she would be filming and she would nudge me and be like, "Don't say that."
Has Amber really ever attended some form of therapy? And do you know if she had been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder while you were together? I've got a screenshot somewhere.
Oh no, I think wasn't that after?
I was diagnosed. I've never been diagnosed. It's in my family, so I probably got it. I've been diagnosed. No, I haven't.
She did go to therapy for a very, very short time when we were together, maybe a few sessions. But no, she was not diagnosed with BPD while we were together.
How did Twinkie act around Amber? Was Twink scared of Amber? We know, of course, that Beck was the one walking, feeding, caring for the animals on camera in live stream era. It seemed like Twinkie hated Amber but loved Beck. What were the animals like when she was on the binge monster? When she was shouting, when she was kicking off, when she was being horrible? I bet the animals were scared.
I don't think that she was afraid of Amber, but I definitely do think that there were times that she preferred me. When the binge monster would come out or when she would be yelling, the animals didn't like that, so they would leave.
Looking back now, did you ever notice or clock Amber looking or talking about PDF type of things?
The only thing that I can think of is her.
Hold on. I think we should listen to this one at regular speed.
Billie Eilish crush that she had when Billie was still under 18.
What was the final straw that made you end things? And what would you say is Amber's worst trait that you didn't believe until it was over?
I've already answered this in Karina Kaboom's Q&A, but basically we had an argument because she was pretending to be me in text messages to our friends, and that started a big, huge argument, and I went and spent the weekend with my family and just decided that I couldn't continue anymore. I would say that Amber's worst trait was how mean she was to me and how she would pick on me.
Wow,
and I didn't see that until we had broken up and I was watching old videos back.
I was in an abuse relationship with a narcissist before, and one day it just clicked and I realized I was relieved to not have to see him. What was the moment that made you go, I don't want to be around her anymore? I have to get out of this, because that moment is a total game changer.
There wasn't a specific one moment, but there had just been so many different things that had happened and things just snowballed, and then we had that big argument, and then after that I left, and then I did feel that sense of relief that you're talking about.
I would ask, did you truly not care about her size when you first started dating? And did you ever get frustrated talking to her because of her lack of education and vocabulary?
I was shocked and alarmed whenever I first met her and realized her size, but I wasn't trying to be judgmental about it. It wasn't that I would get frustrated, it was more amusing than anything. And the only thing that was really frustrating would be when she would think that something was right when it obviously wasn't. So either I would have to Google it or she would have to.
Oh, like the the whole taking the phentamine, but she would have to eat food that had a bunch of calories, so that because she wasn't able to eat as constantly as she wanted, so hence the three pizza slices instead of one, just because I won't be able to eat later. So stupid.
I don't remember if you told us or not, but what was the incident that caused your family?
I'm sorry that if I think I keep yawning. I don't know why.
To intervene. Never heard of a family intervening.
Oh, that.
Never come across it. Anyway.
It was a lot of different things, but whenever my family started seeing less of me, they were concerned.
Were you ever embarrassed walking around while she was on a scooter and asking you to take her pic for a thumbnail?
No, that was so stupid. Wow.
You had to see how big she clearly was and her dumb laugh acting all smug.
Yes, I was extremely embarrassed when she would have me take pictures of her on the scooter for thumbnails. The whole hanging out with her in the scooter, walking around Walmart for hours was embarrassing enough. But it wasn't the scooter that was embarrassing because I walked around Walmart with other people who were riding scooters. And what was embarrassing about it was that the cart would be full of stuff, but then she would have me go get a new scooter when the scooter she was on would die. But I would have to ride it back to her and then switch all of her items over from the dead cart to the one that worked, and she would just ride off and keep shopping and leave the dead
Wow.
scooter where it was sitting.
Oh, fuck.
Has she been physically abused with you or admitted to being abused with other partners? I'm guessing she didn't. Although she admitted to Casey that she hit Crystal.
No, and I just found out about her admitting that to Casey, and I had no idea. I'm shocked she admitted to anything because she really doesn't like taking accountability.
I'd like to know if Amber had her lie about anything. Stupid Destiny. Phone calls, test results, surgeries, diagnoses. I'd also like to know if Amber was ever physical with Beck. She was when she was outed as being physical with Jade as well. So yeah, physical with Jade. Destiny outed her with the code red, and we know about Crystal and Casey. Because it's a proper pattern, isn't it? It's hard for me to imagine Amber's song would change with Beck. I'd also like to let Beck know I'm so incredibly proud of you, sweetheart. From the bottom of my heart, you can hear in your voice how much better you sound mentally, and it's so refreshing to hear. I'm so glad you're doing so much better.
I don't think I can remember of any time that she would have me lie about phone calls or test results or surgeries or diagnosis. There were times that she would have me lie to friends and family and stuff about things that she would say about them. I have said this before, but I do think had she been more mobile, she probably would have been physical with me. And thank you so much for the kind words. It really means a lot.
My question is, did Beck ever feel that there were times when Amberlynn would sabotage them when it came to food, meals, or weight loss?
I'm not sure if it was sabotage. We would start a diet and she would immediately want fast food, so it would set us back. When I was trying to diet on my own and she would not be dieting with me, I would have that constant temptation around me, so I would just give in to it.
Has Amber ever admitted to lying about the Rain and Pell sleeve swap situation? Accused Casey of grape. And then did a slam poetry reading about it. Did
No, she's never admitted that to me, but I don't think she would ever admit something like that to me, especially if it made her look bad.
I'm so curious about how much Beck and Amber were recognised in public. Did people approach either Beck or Amber often? Do people approach Beck now?
Yeah, there were plenty of times that we got recognized out in public. There were plenty of times that people would come up to say, "Are you Amber Lynn? It's nice to meet you," but there was nobody flirting with her or anything like that. And as for do I get noticed or approached now? No, it's only happened maybe once or twice in a year.
For Beck, have you ever seen her hit any of her pets? But did she ever do anything like that? Anything like that with the pets? Did she ever clean the litter boxes?
No, she did not hit the pets. And no, she never cleaned the litter boxes. I always did that. Whenever we first got together and I would visit, there was this room upstairs where the litter boxes would be, but it also had an extra bed in it. And the litter box was just so, it needed cleaned so bad that there was feces on the bed and on the floor.
Oh,
Please,
gross.
could you describe a typical binge monster episode for us?
She would beg. Sometimes she would just be like, "Please, please, will you go get me this or that?" It would just sort of turn into like a guilt trip. Like, why don't you love me? Why don't you want me to be happy? And she would just kind of be a bit of a bully about things if she wasn't getting her way.
What was the dynamic when Wifey moved into the apartment? Did she do anything to help the household, or did she just pacify Amber?
Before Wifey moved in, I stopped staying at the apartment and my stuff was just there. So I really don't know what it was like around there all the time. But I do know whenever I would come back and like periodically get my things, then I would sort of see how things did work with between Wifey and Amber. But Wifey was usually just on her laptop working and stuff. So there wasn't, I didn't see her do a whole lot, except for she would take Twinkie out. She would walk her. I did see that.
When did you realise that Amber was not the victim, but the cause of her issues? Yeah, I remember in the very beginning, you said you saw lots of hate comments, negative comments, and you thought, she can't be that bad. Which is nice of you to look for the good and think, no, come.
I'm sure I started seeing things right away, but I think it was periodically over time that things built up and I started noticing more of like when people wouldn't stay in her life. You know, she was always the common denominator, and how she would say that she wanted help with mental health or weight loss, but then she wouldn't get it. I started to realize that she was the one that was standing in her own way.
What happened during the infamous night when they shared a house with Eric and Ricky? Everybody got drunk and suddenly everybody needed a change and moved out. Oh yeah, yeah.
I do remember that night that we drank and played Cards Against Humanity. We didn't fight that night, but there were times that we fought all the time. So there wasn't a fight that night that caused everybody to want to move out. It was just buildup of Amber wanting to move out over time because she was not happy living there.
I would ask Beck, when living with Eric and Ricky, did they ever mention or say anything about how Amber was treating you? That era is hard to watch. It's hard to edit. Oh man. Because of how miserable Beck looks, and then the fact that Beck's family had an intervention, but Eric and Ricky still stayed friends with Amber.
Yeah, there were times where they were like, especially when she would set the timers and stuff, they would be like, this is ridiculous. We don't understand why she does this or why you put up with it. There were other times where they just wanted to stay out of it. I have no idea why they stayed friends with her after I stopped being friends with her, but I know that they said that they thought that she had changed at one point, but then they had another falling out with her. And then after a little while, they started talking to her again and visiting her. So I'm not sure what happened after that either.
What happened after the camera was turned off? After the who's the one who's been wiping your ass live stream? Oh yeah, God, I don't think I thought about that, man. When you whispered about who's the one who's been wiping your ass, she didn't look happy. What happened after the camera went off?
She was really mad about it. She told me that her audience is never going to let her live it down. And I think she told me to lie and say that I was just joking about it, but I'm not entirely sure.
We've got a question from Jimmy Bunker, who you don't know who Jimmy is. He helps with the channel. He's one of my few friends. He's very nice. And he likes it. And he says, what's your favourite anime? I'm a huge fan of Full Metal Alchemist. You'll know what that is, Beck. I've not got a clue.
I have a few different favorite animes. I like Demon Slayer, and I like Ranking of Kings, and I really like Attack on Titan. And I have started a Full Metal Alchemist, but I'm not in it very far.
Ask about the timer. Like, how did that even happen? Or another part of me is like, what did Amber expect to happen when Jade moved in and Beck was still there? Yeah, how did the timer thing even come about?
The timer thing started whenever I was wanting to go to the basement to hang out with our roommates and play video games. And Amber was invited to go along too, but she didn't want to go. There were plenty of times that she had been down there before, but this time she decided that she didn't want to. So she thought for it to be fair, she would allot me a certain amount of time to go down there by myself. And whenever the timer would go off, I would hear it. And if I didn't hear it, she would send me a text message and say that the timer's done.
Did Amber ever express to Beck any... I don't know the right words. Did she have any kind of self-awareness during her bedbound livestream era about how physically disabled she is, and did she ever have any care for how Beck was going to be able to cope with that? Did she have any self-awareness for her making herself disabled, and did she have any care for how Beck was going to be able to cope? Because that must have been very demanding.
She did talk about it, so it did seem that she was self-aware, but she didn't want to put in the effort to make a difference and change the situation. And no, I don't think that she cared or thought about how it would affect me.
Did they ever worry about the possibility that Amber's health would decline even further and that she'd get even bigger? And what they might have done had that been the case?
Yeah, I did worry about her getting bigger and how it would affect things, but I felt very powerless in this situation.
Oh no, I'm sure there was one more I just saw.
I mean, people like Amber never care about how things will affect other people. It's all about them, me.
Earlier with that. I asked the question before, but thought of another one. Does Amber really keep her old phones? I don't think I did ask this. Or does she have a second phone, one for YouTube and one for burner accounts?
Yeah, she had two phones. She had gotten a new phone, and then she had her old phone. And she would use her old phone for blogs and live streams and stuff like that. And then she would use her new phone for other things, but I'm not sure exactly what she would use it for.
Thanks for doing this, Beck. For reacting to the video. Thank you very much. And I'll keep you updated on victims. Yeah, like I said, there was so many questions. If you want to do another one of these, there's more questions to go. Give me a shout, like I said. Thank you very much, Beck. Thanks everybody for watching. See you in the next video. Thanks everybody. Thanks, Beck.
And that is all for this video. I want to thank Mr. Snowflake for getting all of this together for me to respond to. And I also want to thank you guys for listening and watching. I know that this was a longer video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope to see you guys in the next one.
That is so funny. I'm gonna have to look at it. Let's speed this up a bit. It's cute. It's so funny how Beck is getting actual fan art instead of like the shit that Amber was getting when so much of it was just making fun of her. She didn't get it. All right, I think I'm gonna. Oh, that's cute. Wait, do we have? I was gonna say I think I'm gonna cut it, but it's about to end now. Alrighty, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. I didn't really have much to say towards the end. I couldn't stop yawning for some reason. It's not because I'm bored or anything. It's just I think I need to eat. But anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed that second part. I will be doing a vintage react after this, so I hope to see you there, right? Bye.